The sweet crystals you sprinkle on your morning coffee begin their life in a place so massive, so loud, and honestly kinda unbelievable that most people would never guess what's really happening inside those walls. Inside the world of sugarcane factories, there's this strange mix of chaos and precision, like nature and engineering shook hands but didn't exactly agree on how things should go, and the result is a process that feels almost alive, breathing in through billions of cane stalks and exhaling mountains of pure, clean sugar that somehow ends up in every corner of our daily routines. And the craziest thing is, nobody ever really thinks about what happens between the farm and the bag on the store shelf. But once you step into this process, even just in your imagination, it hits differently, like you're standing beside a massive animal built from metal, belts, rollers, furnaces, steam lines, and men with decades in their hands who don't even need to look at a gauge to know something's off. It starts way back in the fields, where sugarcane stands tall like a never-ending green army swaying in the sun, each stalk filled with hidden juice that farmers treat almost like treasure, cutting through acres with machines that roar through the land and sometimes crews of workers that move with this strange rhythm, almost like a dance they learn from the ground itself. These fields stretch further than your eyes can manage, and when the harvest begins, it's not just work. It's a race, a loud, dusty, sweaty race against weather, against timing, against how fast the cane starts changing the moment it's cut, because sugarcane is alive, and once it's down, the clock begins ticking. Trucks loaded so high they look like rolling mountains thunder toward the factories, and that's where the entire vibe shifts, because inside those gates the cane isn't treated like plants anymore, it's treated like raw fuel, like energy waiting to be squeezed out. The smell hits first, sweet, smoky, thick, and it sticks to your clothes, your hair, your everything, and workers say you can tell how the day is going just by sniffing the air. And then the cane goes through this brutal, almost violent process that somehow still feels like part of nature, as giant shredder machines rip the stalks apart in seconds, sending clouds of fibers and tiny wet fragments flying every direction until huge rollers crush the cane over and over, squeezing it dry like some industrial-sized fist. The juice that comes out, yeah, it doesn't look anything like sugar yet. It's dark, messy, foamy, but it's loaded with the real stuff once you clean it up. And the leftover fiber, called bagasse, doesn't get thrown away like you'd expect. No. In most factories, it becomes fuel, burned right there on the spot to power massive boilers that make steam, which runs the whole plant. So the factory is feeding itself with the leftovers of the very cane it's processing. Basically a self-powered sugar beast that wastes nothing. Then you got clarification tanks, huge round giants bubbling with muddy liquid, and workers checking them constantly because this step needs balance. Heat, lime, settling, timing, and even though machines run everything, the real truth is that it's the workers' instincts that keep the process from going sideways. Some of them say they can tell something is wrong by the sound the juice makes when steam hits it. And honestly, after hearing the stories, I kind of believe them. Once the juice clears, it heads to the evaporators, tall, steaming metal towers that look like they belong in some sci-fi movie. And here the water gets boiled off until the syrup thickens into something deep and glossy and almost hypnotic, and you can literally smell the sugar forming even before it actually happens. Then the crystallizers take over, stirring slowly, deliberately, like giant mechanical cokes making some ancient recipe, pulling crystals together in a way that feels more like crafting than manufacturing, because one small timing mistake can throw the entire batch off. It's kinda wild how delicate this part is, considering the rest of the process feels like a demolition site. And then finally the syrup hits the centrifuges, massive spinning drums that whip the mixture around so fast the molasses gets flung out and the sugar stays behind, white and clumpy and hot, fresh from the spin. When the drums slow down and open, it feels like the whole room glows. Piles of warm sugar pour out like tiny grains of sunlight, rolling across conveyors that move it into dryers, coolers, sifters, and ultimately huge storage silos where workers talk about the sugar like it's alive, shifting and settling overnight with soft rumbling noises that echo through the factory. Then comes packaging, a totally different world inside the same building. Cleaner, quieter, with machines that move so fast you barely catch what they're doing, filling bags, sealing them, printing codes, stacking pallets with more accuracy than a human could manage. Forklifts glide through like they've memorized every inch of the place, and by the time trucks pull away full of fresh product, you kinda realize how insane the whole journey really is. This entire operation, fields, harvesters, trucks, crushers, evaporators, centrifuges, silos, packaging lines, is like a chain with 1,000 moving parts, and if even one link breaks, everything slows down or flat out stops. And what's wild is that sugarcane factories don't sleep. They run day and night during the season, pushing out thousands of tons of sugar every single day, like a heartbeat that doesn't skip. The workers talk about the noise like it's part of their mind now. The clanking, the hissing steam, the low rumble of rollers. And some say that after years inside the factory, silence feels louder than the machines. But what truly makes this entire process so unreal isn't just the scale or the engineering masterwork. It's how something so simple, something we treat almost like nothing, actually requires this massive army of humans, machines, land, weather, timing, and instinct to exist at all. And every factory has its own little secrets, small tweaks, old tricks, unique setups, that never make it into textbooks or documentaries, passed down from worker to worker like unspoken rules of survival. Farmers say sugarcane talks if you listen. Factory workers say sugar has moods. And anyone who's spent real time in this world knows there's a truth in both, even if nobody can explain it clean. So next time you see a tiny packet of sugar at a cafe or tear open a bag at home, just think for a second about the journey behind it, and ask yourself the same question that people who work in this industry think about all the time but never say out loud. If this massive, beating, unpredictable process ever stopped for even one day, what would the world taste like tomorrow?